A marginal constituency is one in which the distribution of a party's support is relatively evenly balanced, so that the incumbent party has a narrow majority and a small net movement of voters will lead to its change in hands. In many constituencies, the socio-economic makeup of the electorate is tailored in such a manner which permanently skews support to one political party, and the incumbents have substantial majorities which are normally unassailable by challengers. Such one-party safe seats, for example, Micoud South and Labrie, predominate in many political systems, in which case the outcome of elections are decided in the marginal constituencies, for example, Soufrière and Castries Southeast. Marginal seats are often a small number of seats in which there is genuine prospect of partisan change. For this reason, the parties tend to concentrate their campaigning efforts on wooing voters in marginal constituencies, and the latter also attract special attention from the opinion polls. It may be noted that seats can of course shift between marginal and safe categories, reflecting population movements, boundary changes, and political realignments. Castries Southeast is made up of 48 communities stretching from Forestier to Cooleytown. It is also the most marginal seat in St. Lucia because it has changed hands with every change in government since the constituency was first created in 1974. The mainstay of its 20,000 plus residents for more than 30 years has been bananas. The spoils of exceptional green gold cultivation are visible throughout the constituency. Yet, it was one of the first areas to diversify away from bananas when revenues began to dwindle. Castries Southeast was first represented by the UWP's Heraldine Rock, the island's first female parliamentarian. Back then, there were only 5,066 registered voters. The constituency was ably represented by Clarence Rambali of the United Workers' Party from 1982 to 1987, followed by the UWP's Gregory Averill, who held the seat for 2 consecutive terms from 1987 to 1997. In true Castries Southeast fashion, the government changed, and so did the representative in 1997. 3,870 votes were cast in favor of the SLP's Minister Rambali, who remained the incumbent in 2001. On that showing, she would crush Brother George, who at the time was running as an independent, affording him only 369 votes, while Mary Polius would have to make do with the remaining 1,680. In 2006, Sir John would handpick Guy Eardley Joseph to bring the seat back home to Flabo. When the votes were counted on that occasion, it would be the SLP's Minister Rambali nursing political wounds inflicted by Guy Joseph at the majority of the polling stations. In Election Countdown 2011, Guy Joseph, wearing yellow trunks and gloves, will do battle against Timothy Mangal from the red corner. A past student of the Forestier Methodist Combined School, Guy Joseph never had the privilege of sitting the Common Entrance examination, which would afford him an opportunity to achieve a secondary education. Notwithstanding, at the age of 17, Joseph gained entrance into the Morn Technical College, where he completed a 2-year program in construction mechanics. He also pursued a number of professional development courses, including accounting and leadership. In 2010, Joseph completed a bachelor's degree in the field of business administration from Monroe College. St. Lucia first became familiar with the mild-mannered man from Forestier at a time when bus operators were lobbying for hiking bus fares. He remained the voice of the nation's minibus associations for 5 consecutive terms. I sat down with Guy Joseph to get a better understanding of his progression into politics.
I have been involved in community activity, community service, especially to the elderly folks over the years. During the time I was a bus owner, I assisted a number of children. I was like the ambulance in Forestier. Everybody who was sick came home, and I could never charge somebody to take them to the hospital in the case of an emergency. So My entire background in community activities and having risen to be the parliamentary representative, I have a soft spot for people in conditions that are not the best.
Although he describes his upbringing as underprivileged, his accomplishments bear testimony to his steadfast determination to change his circumstances.
I know what it is to stand by the road and hike for a ride. I knew what it was when I went to school to buy, 3 of us to put together and buy a 60 cents armor bread with cheese from Mom at Sir Arthur. It was at the time Modern Technical College. Break it in 3, each of us would eat a piece and then drink some water from the pipe and go back to classes. I knew what it was to walk from Forestier or Kachime to the Mod and then to hike a ride back home. So I've been through these situations, and one thing I never forget is where I came from.
His humble beginnings would serve as a precursor to elective office, a position which affords him the opportunity to effect change in what he deems as the 2 most pressing areas for Castries Southeast.
Sustained employment. You have periodical employment, but the level of employment generation that is required, we are not there yet. The other pressing area for me are there are a number of young persons who want to further their education, but the opportunities are not readily available financially.